Hey everybody, you are looking live on tape from a beautiful, absolutely stunning day here in downtown Celebration, right in front of the town Christmas tree. Today we're going to walk around Celebration, a place where I've lived for about a year now. Kind of show you some sights from down here and check out some Christmas scenery. Grab a cold coffee. Really need some caffeine this afternoon. Thanks for joining me. Glad you did. Let's get to it. If you've never been downtown Celebration before, I highly recommend it. Very walkable. It's kind of all centered around this town center, which overlooks this lake, which they say a long time ago, of course not currently doing this now, but there were swan boats you could rent out here on this lake. But absolutely beautiful day. Like I said, you do see a lot of Christmas decorations around, which is awesome. You see those two pylons there and there, that's Celebration Theater, and it's kind of the lease. AMC, who owns a lot of the theaters in America and in Orlando, the big movie theater at Disney Springs is actually owned by AMC, but they had the lease on that place and it was closed. It's been closed the whole time we've lived here, and it just came up, so it's kind of a big hot topic of debate around town. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on there. But just ordered a coffee, we'll get that, and then we'll head around again and see if we can find some cool Christmas sights. So center of town is oddly enough called Town Center. It's where they do their farmers market every Sunday, and where if you it's kind of looking directly back towards Town Center, towards the tree. They blocked that whole street off, and there's an ice skating rink, which I'll show you as well. And they do fake snow, or snope, which is soap made to look like snow. But I hope that's a turtle out there. I'm not sure you can see that. It's like right there. It's a head poking up. Yeah, it's a turtle. Nice sign there. Come on, focus. But this is the dedication plaque to Celebration of the lake here. And again, a little wayfinding, that's over toward the Bohemian Hotel. And they do their car show, celebrity car show. A lot of the big timers stay over at that hotel, but Celebrations definitely has an interesting history. It's worth a Google. But real briefly, designed by Disney engineers, it was kind of Disney's take on a planned community. Disney no longer owns the community, but there's plenty of touches throughout here in Celebration. You can kind of see the Celebration logo right there. It's a girl riding a bike with a tree. It's the same. I have a parking pass for down here in the pools and whatnot. That same logo. But every Sunday is the farmers market. We've been a couple times. My girlfriend's been multiple times. It gets pretty crowded, but there are a ton of vendors, foods and drinks and whatnot. I will say this about living in Celebration: we don't partake in a ton of activities that are available to residents. That should be louder. But there are weekly events here in town. They have food truck Fridays where different food trucks come around, and movie nights and whatnot all throughout town. So if you're really civic minded or really enjoy getting out in the community, Celebration's great for that for sure. For walking up here on this tree. But all through this main drag, you have restaurants and little boutiques and shops. And over to our left here is the skating rink, which I'm sure in the evening hours this is a pretty popular spot. It was $15 for a half an hour. On this, of course, being in Florida, it's not. This should go without saying, but it is fake ice. So. But I think we'll walk down to that theater, and I'll give you. It's really cool. It's a lot of the architecture, especially on the road I live on, looks like it's right at home in Hollywood Studios. It's almost a golden era Hollywood vibe, if you will, and the theater really carries that over with the Art Deco architecture, which is really, really cool. But again, we'll walk over there and check that out. But all through the streets of Celebration, you're going to see, I mean, what town do you know of that has Wolfgang Bakery that literally makes dog treats and grooming for pets? And on your left there is Killen's Ice Cream, which big hit from all the folks that I know that have tried it. I have not eaten there. Girlfriend has a couple times. I think my mom even got some ice cream when she came down to visit, and it's kind of buttressed right beside this theater, which again is closed now, and they're kind of debating on what to do with it. It's really cool at night. All that neon lights up, and it just reminds you of like a Truman Show type experience. Get your old box office. I saw in another video they used to do theme nights like Back to the Future, where Christopher Lloyd actually came here. But see if we can peek in. These glass is pretty dirty, but see the concession stand and the tile work inside. I saw an interview of one of the proposed ideas was, multi-use theater, concert space, which I admit would be pretty sweet. I don't know. I mean, I'm not involved in local politics at all, but I would imagine reverting back just to a normal movie theater probably won't happen, but heck, you never know. Another good thing or fun thing about Celebration is they have an abundance of fountains. So I remember in the summer months seeing little kids play throughout this compass. And as you see, it's got cities around Florida. The Celebration logo right in the middle there. In the distance, Miami 192, Captiva Island 178, St. Pete 104, and all. But the one curious marker that stands out is going to be this Burbank marker right next to the Walt Disney World marker. Burbank, of course, home to Walt Disney World Studios. And that's kind of, again, gives you a little indication. They're scattered almost like Easter eggs throughout the town of the Disney heritage. Another great thing about Celebration is there's walking paths. See a lady walking her dog across the lake there. There's walking paths all over Celebration, miles upon miles, with wooden bridges and just different areas where, if you like nature or you're a fit person, you like working out, you can kind of, even though you're in a urban environment, you can really kind of escape and get away from the hustle and bustle. Because no, it doesn't look like it right now because of the time of day. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe 1:30, but this place down here, especially during the holiday season, gets absolutely bustling. Parking really becomes a premium. But you see their little flags. Happy Holidays. It says established 94. Saw an interesting video the other day, kind of catching up with the original residents. This place was so popular during its planning period. Now, believe it, I know the housing market's crazy, especially in Central Florida right now. But imagine this, a new development that had to have a lottery. You had to win a random drawing to be able to purchase property here. It was so anticipated, and the demand was so high over supply that folks had the money in pocket and just were hoping to be able to spend it here. But like any town, anywhere, Celebration's not immune to crime or problems. There's in fact, a triple or quadruple homicide a guy is currently in trial over. But since we've lived here in the previous years, that's very few and far between. As I can feel like I can speak to this as a resident, I feel completely safe living in Celebration. I don't leave my doors unlocked, but I don't have the same type of fear of, we used to live in Memphis area, suburb of Memphis, so you imagine that's kind of going polar opposite. And before that, living on the Gulf Coast, where it was I thought very, very safe there as well. Now down the corner, we're kind of making a big loop, is that restaurant right there, which is your Celebration Town Tavern. And I would kind of say that's the Cheers of Celebration, being that kind of everyone goes and hangs out. Popular restaurant. So I'll give you a decent idea here. Town's broken up into several villages. We actually live near the high school area, and about, if you look here, World Drive, that's the way we go to all the parks. We don't have to get on the interstate or any major roads. Epcot usually takes us about 8 minutes. Hollywood Studios about the same. Magic Kingdom probably 10. So the convenience factor is huge. Celebration definitely has some really pricey real estate, but you don't have to be a millionaire to live here, believe me. One really unique building here in town is this post office, which looks like no other post office I've seen around any place that I've lived. And another cool place is that's a bank, and you can go up to the top of that, believe me. I've seen it on other videos, and I will not be partaking in that today. but really cool details all throughout town. Like you notice this clock here, it's got the Celebration logo in the center of it. Just different type of details you don't normally see in a lot of places. And you got more fountains. Actually got a menorah for Hanukkah. One thing I can definitely say about living in Orlando, Central Florida, Celebration in particular, is very, very diverse. And it's all religions, all ethnic backgrounds, economic diversity. You meet all types living here. It's a better look at the clock. I think it's really cool. If I can get my camera to work. Speaking of cameras, it's kind of what brought me down here. I had to return my old iPhone. It was time. I had the iPhone X. I had it for probably about 5 years. If you watched my last video, I talked a little bit about it, a little briefly. But decided it was time for an upgrade and went full in with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which has some unique camera features that I'm anxious to try out. I'm actually filming with it today, so it's kind of a two birds, one stone situation, just trying to get a feel of using this camera and checking out some of the features. But this is a straight shot down Water Street, Market Street, the canal there, and then back towards Town Square. So I'm making my way slowly back to my truck. So, pros and cons of living here. Pros, obviously, proximity to the parks. Like I said, I mean, you can't really beat the commute. It is awesome. Another pro, you know, it's convenient to my job and my girlfriend's job, which, if you've ever had a long commute, that's pretty big part of the deal, not having to drive an hour back to work every day. So that's great. We love our apartment. We have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, plenty of room. Another pro, like basically all the stuff that we like to do or go to do, we don't really get stuck in traffic too often. Now, if you lived in Orlando or Central Florida for any length of time, you'll know how bad traffic can be, especially surrounding I-4. But, you know, thankfully for most of the grocery store, theme parks, outside of Universal, obviously. But we have really generally light traffic around Celebration. Cons, one would be cost. You pay for all that location, convenience, and quality and amenities. You could definitely live cheaper in Orlando area or Central Florida area, but you're not going to have all the amenities that Celebration might have or any other type of upscale community. Cost of living in general, Central Florida to me is very high. You know, like I said, 3-bedroom apartment, power bill's usually around $200, which isn't terrible, but you know, something you got to consider. Other con would be, I'm probably going to take a little heat for this, but I'm not so sure about the schools here in Celebration. My girlfriend would probably be a better person to speak about that, in her opinion. Just kind of what I've seen compared to other places we've lived. I don't feel like school does a great job, in my opinion, but I know they have a tough job. But heck, my mom's a retired teacher. I know what to deal with, but I don't know. And then outside of that, I can't think of a whole lot of cons of living in Celebration. It is very, I mean, there are some confident people that live here, I would say. But that never really bothered me any place I've lived, as far as, you know, some people might say bougie people, but we typically stay to ourselves anyway, so. But it is kind of funny when you finally get to meet the richest man in the world, or so they say. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I think that's gonna do it for today. Had to, like I said, had to run some errands. Thought I'd bring you along with me. Check out my home, or my place where I live. I was about to say my hometown, but it's not my hometown. But place where I live. So if you liked my video today, make sure you subscribe. If you hated it, still subscribe, but mail me a postcard and explain your reasoning behind why you didn't like it in particular. List specific references or timestamps would also help. That being said, keep your towns clean, and as always, keep the parks clean.